Hey everybody. So, if you watch these videos, as you know, the last couple of months I've been sort of hung up on a sort of a concept where basically for a hierarchy I return a value, and I was calling it tokenization or tokenizing, but it's not really tokenizing because tokenizing is more taking a big long set of things and then breaking them up into smaller individual pieces in which each one of them is a token. So I said, taking, so I decided to interact with Chat GPT, and I just basically said taking a word and breaking them up to into to, breaking them up to use individual words is called tokenizing, right? And that was basically that question. The only reason I asked that question is because I want to set the context. Who knows what? There's probably a million different contexts that have nothing to do with computer science for tokenizing and token and stuff like that. Like there's just so many. So I wanted to sort of set, set the context, and then it said, yeah, that's basically what this is. And then I wanted to know, well, what's the reverse of that, where you take a long set of thing and stuff and kind of combine it, because that's what I want to do. I want to take like a hierarchy and combine it into a single word. Um, and basically concatenation, and that's a neat word. I like that. Slugification is, and then slugging, I guess, would be the verb for it. Um, that's a good one, but that is very, very, very specific to like the news business. Trying to take a bunch of words. So I don't know. It seems like a word that's got so much. It's so deep into some other field that it might be a good idea. But I do like this encoding word. Um, and then, so like basically I would take my path, my full path, and I would encode it and unencode it. And what's nice about that would be then we wouldn't have the code. I don't know if you've seen some of the other videos where I take, basically, if you look into the service, the validation service, you see this goofy, where is it, like, is one deep, is two deep. It won't matter, because we will have a consistent way of breaking up a path into uh, and encoding it into a token, right? So we're not tokenizing it into a token, we're encoding it into a token. Now, they also had a different one called custom aliasing, which I think is a really good word too, but it just doesn't flow very well. Um, and then, you know, it doesn't, you don't see that very often in, basically, usually you end up blowing right by that and you want to basically encode it into like some sort of hash, um, so that, because a lot of times when you're doing this, it's like you're trying to take a large number, like some, maybe an entire photo or an entire, like, social security, gender, like the whole, everything about somebody, and turn that into a single value that then you you store stuff about. But this is, in this situation, hashing it would be a bit more, but encoding, I like that a lot. So, anyways, last time what happened is that we basically figured out how to make it to where there's like an exception list of characters that you're allowed to type. So the overall concept is that, yes, we have validation, and we have this validation that will automatically fix things for you. And I think we fixed it for density. So yeah, so if we do this, we hit point. Um, oh, and then we basically, like, let's say we put like uh, the letter O. So, so that's not a valid value. So basically, we put this information up, but then, like, let's say we had one, and then we type in the letter O. It'll just go back to one. Like, we're not going to let you go from a valid state to an invalid state. But the one exception is for this is decimal point. I want you to be able to type in decimal point, because in order to get to point 4, you have to start at a validation. And in my career now we've sort of hit all the sort of tricky things. You know, I don't know of any more tricky things other than that. Of the last one that I've run into is where, oh, I have to be invalid in order to get to valid. Um, so we've solved that problem, and then I wanted to make it a little bit more generic, um, so that I had the exceptions, and they're for all floating point numbers, not just for once. Because right now I have it coded. I had it coded where basically it's just um, custom code in for everything. And so basically I set up this thing where you get overwrite exception and exceptions, and then so then basically I'll get an array of things that you're allowed to type in on the way, you know, and if you type them in, it doesn't overwrite. So, and then I basically sort of came up with this, and I was like, okay, so that's silly. Let's pull this code into its own function. But the function would also need some additional information. So it would need the original value. So let's say, um, and so this was is overwrite exception is the name of the variable. So um, um, overwrite exception. So this is a function, and basically its job is to check for an override exception. And it's going to take two things. One is going to be the value, and that is going to be a string, I believe. And the next one, the other thing is going to be the tokens. And that's going to be an array of tokens, validation tokens. Or yeah, validation token types. And this is going to return a boolean. And basically it's just going to be this code here. And this tells me that I should probably name that a little bit better. I don't know why I keep just dropping the tokens, validation tokens, and then let's change. Did I make that an array? Nope. And then let's change this. I actually like the word value instead of current value, because this function doesn't care whether it's the current value or an exact value. And then this is going to be a function, a variable, and I like the name of it, is equal to false. So it's going to default to false, but if it finds a single exception in the list of exceptions, it will send it to true, set it to true, and then return is overwrite exception. And that is that. And then so basically what we want to do now is call this right here. So we're going to say this dot what did I name that thing? Check for overwrite exception, and it's going to send in the current value, and it's also going to send in the validation tokens. And we are going to and so the rest of the code should work, because basically we have some code that just says, hey, if it's not an override exception, then go ahead and check to see if the previous, because why even check? We don't need to check if it's not right. All right, so on line 306, we have some sort of problemo. Let's let's get rid of that there. Oh, okay, we put this return in the wrong place. And when we put this exception or this declaration in the wrong place, and now all is good. Well, at least everything's compiling. So the compiler is happy. And then come over here, and I believe we are doing this for fog density. So just make sure this still works. And it still works. So if we had it, well, 0.6, and then we type in Q. Oh, no, that I didn't want. Oh, okay. That's because when it got to Q, it actually changed, which is weird because, oh, okay, because this is happening, the validate happens after the fog density. So we needed to add the, well, no, that's weird. To a point. Okay, I don't really understand why this validate fog density doesn't end up replacing it with back to the original value, to the previous value. Why that's broken now. And let's see, where are we at on time? We're at 12 minutes. So I guess that'll be the tomorrow. It should be resetting. So validate fog density is like, it's working fine, except for like this is a valid value, and then like it's never getting in here in the is overwrite exception is like apparently always false. All right, I can't tell myself console.log. Put in our question marks. Let's go ahead and bring the debugger up. And then let's come in here. So what I think we should get here, right, to the set value, but it doesn't look like we ever get there. So let's try that, 5 and A. Yeah, we never ever get there. Do we get here? 6 and A. No, we never even get there. So we don't want to do this quite yet. 7. Now we'll go here and try to figure out why. A. Okay, so current validation is none. Why would current validation token be none? Did I get rid of too much code? I think I got rid of too much code. I'll validate current value. So this validation didn't work at all. So 8. So let's hit play. And now A. Oh, I did not want to. We wanted to be here. I think there's a way. that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think we've actually moved the pointer back. So we're back here. So we're going to step in. No, it did not actually bring the pointer back. Okay, so anyways, let's go back here and hit run. Tab. Make that a 6. Run. Oh, we're still in there. Run. It's weird. I think it's maybe because I'm trying to Alt-Tab back that it's firing. Okay, so A. Okay, now I'll bring this back down into the... Okay, so validation tokens is invalid positive float, and the current value is... Oh, current value is already 0. Which is valid. Let's try this again. Okay, I'm just going to run this out. And then A, and it's to 0. It got reset. Okay, so basically I'm adding the a debug to this to the thing that saves the previous fog density. We're seeing what in the world is happening. This is like kind of par for the course. I don't know why I just redid that. Oh, wrong one. When you're dealing with forms, sometimes things just get weird. Okay, so it was 0.1. Now I'm going to hit A, and what should happen is the save previous fog density should pop up, and it did. Okay, so it's saving the previous fog density to, and it's going to save it to, I believe, I don't know why this is being such a pain, but a control value of, let's go over 0.1, which that totally makes sense, right? And now basically the next thing that should happen is the validate should happen on the key up, but validate did not happen on the key up. What is the value? All right, so that was weird. All right, let's try this again. Okay, so the current, see, it's already 0. Something set the current value to 0, because you can see it on the screen at 0. That's the only reason I'm saying it. I don't really know why that is getting set to 0. I feel like maybe there's like an order of operations, like the race condition. I was assuming that the form control subscription wouldn't happen until, okay, so we do the setup fields, we do the subscriptions. Oh, is something, no, that, well, that still shouldn't do it though. Okay, so basically we're talking about fog density, right? All right, so fog density, we're gonna make it 5 or 6. So all kinds of stuff is gonna wanna happen as it gets on its way to there, and now we're going to change it to A. Yeah, so basically this, for some reason, this fired before the key down, which I've never really seen that happen before. Um, for a second there, I was like, oh, is this new in Angular 19? But this one I wasn't able to successfully, right? Because now what'll happen is, now we're back to here again. That was so weird. Maybe it's like, I don't think so. I was gonna say maybe like the debugger is messing with all of this stuff. I think we might have to go to console logs to actually debug this thing. It's so weird though, but it'll let me do point. And that, I guess that's because up there there's a 5A. Okay, so, okay, one last thing and then I'm gonna sign off. Just gonna add, just because we're right here, okay, console log. And then console log, because that happens on the key up. Key down. That happens on the key down, and then okay, so this is for fog density, so console log. Form subscription. And now let's go ahead and let it rip. A. Now let's go look at our console logs. So yeah, the form subscription fired before the key down event. Then the key down event fired, and then let's say that is a bummer, folks. These sorts of issues have kept me at work till late in the night so many times. Yeah, see, the form subscription fired, then the key up fired, which then stored. I kept saying it. Yeah, this is like kind of the nature of how I work. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. And then I just keep on going. So this worked up until a minute ago, and this is sort of the danger of race conditions and assuming certain timing is going to happen the way you think it's going to happen. And it just doesn't, it quite often does not work out. Like, there's just no telling what causes these timings to change. because everything's happening under the covers. Okay, so form subscription AAAA. So the form got called like 5 times. Then the key up happened and it was already 0. And then key. Well, see, the key down was 0.1. Then the form subscription happened between the key down and the key up. And then the key up happened. So when the form, so I wonder why. Okay, so okay, so I think I don't know why. Okay, so let's try this. Let's change this to 5 or to 6. So key down. So for some reason, the form subscriptions start happening in between. Instead of being after the key up, it started happening between the key down and key up, which was not doing that before. Curious if we go look at the other one, if it's that way too. See, it isn't that way for the other one. So some change in the way the code works has caused the timing to change. For some reason in this one, when we didn't add that extra code that does that checks everything, and my guess is that what's happening is when the TypeScript is running and it's compiling and converting it, Angular is converting it from TypeScript to JavaScript. It's because of this extra code that was just added. It is now a this call, and this all happened once we made this its own function. So like if we change this code back, and current value, change that to current value, and then let's see what happens. No, it's still broken on this one. So if we get rid of the overwrite, so what if we do this? Yeah, that is wild. If we do that. But if we do the other one, it goes back to 1. But if we go do this one, it goes to 0. All right, what did I do? What have I done? And I'm pretty sure it's still a timing issue. Okay, so let's try this. Restarting. Now I just really want to know, because this is such a unique experience, and it's sort of an opportunity to sort of learn a very, 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 very edge case kind of thing. Yeah, so if I could figure out why that's behaving differently, I would know. That would give me some insight into stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Let's just do this. Control Z. Back to where we were at the beginning. I kind of wish I had a different commit now, because then I could just say, get rid of everything in this commit. And maybe this was happening in the beginning and I just didn't test it. I thought we had tested it. I thought it was working before. But maybe I didn't even try it. Never tried it, like an absolutely legal value. Okay, so that one is still broken, even though we have completely gotten rid of all of our code. Let's get rid of this. And then let's go ahead and get rid of this. I think we're kind of back to the original code. Yeah, but if we do the same exact same thing over at linear, yeah, but if we do this one, 5, we never even get the little thing either. I wonder if it's because of the form setup. When we set up the form, I wonder if we're setting it up. One of them as a number and one of them as a string. Set up form fields. Okay, so this is fog density, and then this one near validator control. As a 1 string. So there's nothing really different about the way those two are set up. Except one's a 0.1 and one's a 1. Fog density form control. Okay, that's weird. Oh, fog density is 2 string here. I doing here? So this, I'm doing this for fog density, but I'm not doing this for near, right? And fog density is messed up, right? But near is not. Okay, so first of all, let's go to scene. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Alt back. Scene. Code implementation. Where is the scene? 3 service scene. Item values. Go to definition. Okay, alt back. So there's some place that I set this fog density 2.1. Okay. Okay, so this is effect and oh, that is interesting. So I don't do that for fog near. I wonder if it has something to do with this. Interesting. So this is because this form controls fog density. So on the effect, whenever I update it, I update the fog density, but I never do that with the fog near. And I don't know if there was a good reason to do that. I guess the good reason to do it is to initialize it. But that seems to have, getting rid of that seems to have solved the problem. I don't know if I like that answer though. But the scene was being updated, which was then causing this to go, and then that was causing, and that's why the, yeah, so that was weird. So now all that code is impacted by that. And I don't know if I feel real, like, I definitely feel like I've added to my overall knowledge, but I don't think I have gotten a solid understanding of what's going on. So anyways, where are we on the commit? We got rid of that. Okay, so basically we've undid yesterday's video and we did this. So let me go ahead and commit that so that we tomorrow, if we have this issue, I really do need to get into this habit anyway. So git add dot git commit dash m adds a list of exceptions. And this is video 305. So it's definitely that effect. I can't really quite, okay, so the effect is firing, which is, the scene is getting updated before the validations are taking place. So then the effect fires, and then and then it sets it to 0 because it's an invalid value, and then and that messes up the whole system. So I don't know, that it's a bit jumbled. I know this is a long ass video, 40 minutes, but you know, it's kind of like probably after I have a day or two to sort of let all this stuff settle, that'll be valuable information that I just got, and that's kind of the point of this whole thing. but I can definitely see why somebody would not sit through 40 minutes of this. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.